Hey everybody, we've got some sort of weird, bug with text in Northwind, where, there's just text everywhere, and then all the numbers are huge. I have no idea what's going on with that. Pay it no mind. Today we're talking about the new Endgame weapons, because Northwind, up until this point, had, one or two OP weapons that were always pretty easy to get, like Old Bayonet, Old Great Pike, Old Boarding Axe, and then a couple ultra rare great primaries like Tane, and Old Jazale. And so there were a couple, a handful of good weapons, but now we can equip full sets of really good weapons. Now there is an end game meta for all of the slots. So there's a primary and a secondary and a melee that are really fucking good right now. There's a series of them, so you can pick and choose. First off, we've got the Doglock. Now, this guy is from treasure chests, fort treasure chests. They're not treasure chests, they're fort chests. And it's from those rewards. And this thing is essentially like a Springfield, but with sharp accuracy and a 10-second reload. And so it's just a really good pistol, especially because the Prussian cavalry, or the Holstein, whatever you want to call it, that's now doing 50 damage. And so this thing's doing 70, which is a huge cut above the highest damaging pistol alternative to it. So yeah, this thing's great. It's the best of the 5 pistols, hands down. That being said, it's a pistol, and so I can't really recommend insuring it unless you really want to run it. And if you do really want to run this thing, yeah, it's pretty fucking good. But there are better things to insure. Now, that being said, if you've got one of the new insurance papers that you get also from fort chests, you can come in here and use your insurance paper in this menu, and then you can insure 2 weapons at once, and so you can insure your Doglock, which is very fucking cool. So now we're going to talk about the 2 new melees. I don't have a mace, because I was really tired of grinding after grinding out the rest of these. So, yeah, we'll talk about... No, let's talk about the mace first, because I know the stats. So the mace is just a better axe. It does 5 less damage than the boarding axe, so it does 65. However, it gets one more swing. It gets one more swing than the boarding, and it swings much faster. So it's got sword speed swings, which is insanely good if you're dealing 65. And so it is a great weapon for group fights. The mace is great for that, and even for competitive dueling. The mace is a good competitive dueler now. And then we've got the beautiful masterwork, and this is, yeah, without a doubt, I'd say this is the new best melee, especially since Saber was nerfed. I don't know if Cutlass was nerfed, but I know Saber was nerfed. And so this is just the best melee. It is essentially a Saber that does 50 damage. Well, old Saber. So this has 5 swings. Saber now is 4. Saber got nerfed. But this didn't. So this is 5 swings, and goddamn, it does 50 damage. So you can kill someone in 2 swings. 2 swings with this boy. This boy is absurdly good. Unironically, this is the new best melee. It's great in group fights, it's great in duels, it's great everywhere. And again, if you want to insure it, I do recommend getting one of the new insurance paper things from the fort chests. Otherwise, I guess you're just sacrificing your primary and your secondary. But honestly, if you're doing that for one of these, I think it's probably worth it. This thing is great. This, unironically, best melee right now. And then we've got the new primaries. Oh my god, are these cool. So, the Reed rifle is the new Jaeger. The Jaeger got nerfed, and the Reed got its old stats. And so, the Reed is a really accurate 70 damage gun. And the cool thing about the Reed is you can put a scope on it, just like all the other rifles, which makes it a great support weapon. Scopes are, highly underappreciated, in my opinion. When it comes to faction combat, they're so good for popping heads and finishing off kills. So I strongly recommend getting a Reed, and the scope comes from the fort chest over there. Just like the Doglock, just like the insurance papers. So yeah, these things are great faction support weapons. They're kind of hard to use in CQC. It's kind of hard to tap fire with them because they make your screen all black. But yeah, any mid-range, long-range engagements, these things are king. These things are lethally accurate at medium range. So, yeah, Reed is a strong recommend. And then there's the Dopplet. And the Dopplet makes up for everything the Reed can't do reliably in CQC. The Dopplet is the first mid-range gun to be able to, like, one-tap. Well, apart from Old Giselle. And so, yeah, this thing is just super good at mid-range. Like, any range you'd be using a sharp pistol at, you'd be using a Dopplet at. Now, obviously, it doesn't work at, like, the extreme ranges, but close to mid-range, it is so fucking good. It does 100 damage with 2 lead balls, so 50 out of each barrel. It's got a very strange spread that's, like, very, very random. You'll have to get used to the weird spread, but once you do, once you realize what range it works best at, this gun is phenomenal. This is also the hardest gun to get of any of the things I've discussed yet, but if you do get it, this is, like, the fucking best. This thing is so good. And then lastly, I'll talk about them just because they're the most common of the rare weapons, of the rare meta. That's the Tane. Tane's got nerfed from 95 damage down to 75 damage, and the reload, I think, was kept about the same at 15. It might have been, like, shortened a little bit, but I think the reload's still 15. And so these things are just dependable. They're not as good at long range as the Reed is, and they're not as good at CQC as the Dopplet is, but they're just sort of a middle ground, right? They are very much a jack of all trades. And yeah, I mean, I still like Tanes. They're acquirable. They're fucking expensive, though. And yeah, I'd say they might be the most expensive weapon, apart from the new Dopplet. So if you can get your hands on a Tane, they're still always reliable. They're fucking good. If you're headshotting people with a Tane, you're still doing 90 damage, which is great. But the Reed is better for long range, and the Dopplet is better for short range. So if you want to specialize, I recommend those two. Alrighty, that is the brand new weapon meta, because there are now endgame weapon metas. For those of you wondering why I'm not talking about the rapier, there's like 5 fucking rapiers. They're not even tradable, so don't set sights on a rapier. You can't get them. I'm sorry. No one can get them. But that's pretty much it for today. These are the brand new weapons. They're all really fucking good. I strongly recommend grinding for them. And thank you all for watching.